Now let's talk about reading data from a file. So when you're trying to read a particular data from the file, you can have two methods. You can use any of these two methods. One of them is read and the other is read line. So as the name suggests, read will read the entire contents of the file into the memory. Read line will only read first line from your file into the memory. So if you want to access line by line, then you will be using read line. But if you just want to print all the contents of the file from all the contents of a file, then you can directly use the read method. So read only works when the file has been opened for reading and contents are returned as strings. So even if you use read line, all the contents are returned as strings, including the \n. So when you are talking about when you are using the read line method, you'll have to make sure that that you remove the \n to to not see any extra lines in between the outputs. We'll see how that looks in the next slide. And read position is the location of the next item that is to be read from the line. So we'll see the significance of read position in the next slides as well. So when you are trying to read the file, we have two methods. One is read method and the other is read line method. So now let's take a look at this example by using the read line method. So you are first starting with your function define main, and your file object here is in file because you are using an input file to read the contents from. That's the reason why you have the variable in file. So in file is equal to open the file name. Here it is philosophers.txt and in the mode R because you are only using it for reading. So when you do know that like we are going to use the read line method in this example, so that's the reason why I have line 1 is equal to file object dot read line. So I'm going to use the method read line as it is the method name. And also notice the format, you have the same syntax, that is file name dot the file object dot the method. The reason why I have the variable name as line 1 is because I do know that when I am trying to use the read line method, my read line method will return the string of the first line from that file. So I know that the output of this statement, that is infile.readline, is the first line from my file. So that is the reason why I have created a variable line 1 and assigned that to infile.readline. Second variable is line 2 is equal to infile.readline. So this is going to read, the line 2 is going to read the second line from the file. That is the reason why I have the variable name it as line 2. Similarly, line 3 will be reading the third line from the file. That is line 3 is equal to infile.readline will be reading the third line from the file and it will be returned as string. So all the line 1, line 2 and line 3 are strings as of now. So this works great when you just have names or when you just have alphabetical characters in your file. But what if you have numerical data in the file and that is being returned as a string? So in that case, you'll have to convert the numerical data. You'll have to convert the string data into the numerical data. We'll see how that works in the next few slides. But for now, we do know that line 1, line 2, and line 3 are having string data, and these are the 3 lines. These are the first 3 lines from our file philosophers.txt. And I'm closing the file and I'm printing line 1, line 2, line 3. And also notice that read line will return \n as string as well. So as \n is also returned as an output from the line 1, when I'm printing the line 1, I see an extra space in between my outputs. Say this, John Locke, David, Edmund. And I'm having a space in between, there is an empty line in between these outputs. That is because I am also printing the next line that has been obtained from infile.readline. So if I want to remove that \n, I can use the stripping rstrip method that we'll be seeing in the next slide. So if you want to remove the \n, you will be using rstrip method. So rstrip is basically the write strip. We will be talking more about the rstrips and lstrips when you're talking about strings in chapter 8. But for now, just understand that is a rstrip method that will be basically stripping the specific characters, whatever that you have mentioned inside the parenthesis, towards the right side of the string. So whichever characters that you have specified will be removed from the rightmost point of your string. And when you are that is when you want to remove the backslash-n's. But when you want to enter the data in, like, like let's say when you're trying to open a file and you want to enter the data in new lines, instead of using directly \n with the right method, you can always use the plus sign and then have \n as a string character, and then have your statements. Here, the plus sign is also called as concatenation operator. And this concatenation operator is different than the addition symbol, the addition operation. So understand that these two are not the same. This is called as concatenation operator, as it is just bringing those two together. It is not performing any calculations. It is not performing any math. All it's doing is it is bringing the argument 1 and argument 2 closer. That's it. It's just removing the extra space in between these two characters. So if you see this example here, that what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to write 3 different names into my file, that is friends.txt. So I'm asking the user to enter the 3 names. The user had entered the 3 names, and those names will be saved in the variables name1, name2, and name3. And now I'm trying to write these 3 names into my file, that is friends.txt. So the file object that I have created is my file. Or what I'll be doing if I'm writing this program is I'll be using out file as my file object. So out file is equal to open friends.txt, the mode that is right in this case, because I'm writing the contents into a file. I could always use append, that depends. So I'm using the write method. So the next format is file object.write, open parenthesis, name1 plus string, as \n is a string. I'm using quotes \n. Or you can just directly use myfile.write name1 \n. That also works. I'm just showing you a different representation by using the concatenation operator. That's it. The next line is myfile.write name2, myfile.write name3, and then close, print. So once this program is executed, this is a sample output here. So I'm asking the user friend1, friend2, friend3. The names were written to friends.txt. That is the print statement after the file has been closed. Now, when I'm trying to read the same contents, I'm moving to a different example here, that we are opening a different file, but the content is basically, the takeaway is when you're trying to read the same file. So let's say you're trying to use this example and you're not using any rstrip method to strip the \n. But if you want to strip the \n, which you have to when you're using the readLine method, you will be using this method. So line 1, you're first reading the first line in file.readLine. So the first line will be saved in line 1. Next, you are using the rstrip method on this line 1 itself. So line 1 is equal to line1.rstrip. And inside the parenthesis will be the characters or the special characters that you want this command to strip. So you have \n that needs to be stripping. So that needs to be stripped. So the line 1, earlier we had John Locke \n. Now, after this line is executed, you will have line 1, which is John Locke. That's it, without the \n. Once you close this and once you are printing this line 1, line 2, line 3, you will see the outputs without any extra blank lines. I hope the part where, like, you are using the concatenation to write the data into the file, and then when you are using the rstrip method to remove the \n from a file is clear. So in the next video, we'll be talking about the append mode. So stay tuned.